channel. So today I am not filming in my usual filming spot. I'm actually filming in my living room because, to be quite honest, my vanity is a huge mess and I just can't be bothered cleaning it up. Hashtag lazy girl problems. Also, I was just wearing a toque, so if my hair looks kind of funny or flat or anything like that, that is why, so just please excuse that. But anyways, today's video is going to be my next video in my top 10 series. I say series because I have actually only done one of these videos in the past. I did my top 10 favorite products from Tarte, but today is going to be my top 10 from Too Faced. Too Faced was just kind of the natural next choice for me to do in this series because they are one of my favorite brands for sure, and they are a brand that I've been using for literally years, and they're very near and dear to my heart. In fact, the first product I ever bought from Sephora when I was 13 years old was a Too Faced product, and I still have it. Don't worry, I don't use it. I haven't used it in years because that's obviously not hygienic and it's pretty dried out by now anyways. But it is this Starry-Eyed Glitter Liquid Liner in this bright green shade. I just still have this for kind of nostalgic purposes and also because I am a hoarder. But yeah, let me know if you remember when Too Faced sold these. I know this is probably like a huge throwback, but like I said, I've had this since I was 13, so I've been wearing Too Faced for like 8 years. Clearly been a big favorite for me for a long time. I just love the brand. I love how they are really the epitome of like glamour and femininity while still being user friendly. Like, it's a brand that's still very appropriate for just like the kind of every woman, you know what I mean? They make a lot of really good, solid, everyday products. You don't have to be like a professional makeup artist to use them. They perform amazingly, but they're still practical, if you know what I mean. The brand was founded by two men. Their names are Jared Blandino and Jeremy Johnson. They are like the cutest human beings on this planet, and on their website, they actually have a little bio for their chihuahua, which is the cutest thing ever. Too Faced, I think, is definitely most well known for their cocoa powder products, so like their Chocolate Soleil bronzers, the chocolate bar palette, the cocoa contour kit, the cocoa powder foundation, all of those products. Also, one last thing before we get started, Too Faced is hands down my favorite brand for packaging. They have the cutest packaging ever. It's so cutesy and like whimsical and fun, but it's like not crossing the edge where it's like childish or tacky. I think they do their packaging really well. Their packaging is definitely very cute and girly, but I think it's still that nice balance where women of all ages would love the brand. But anyways, let's jump in and get started because this video is already going to be very long. So the very first product I want to talk about is the Born This Way foundation. I did a first impressions review of this back in the summer. I'm sure most of you guys have seen it, but it will be linked down below if you haven't. I always get asked if I still love this foundation as much as I did when I tried it in my first impressions, and the answer is yes. I use this all the time. I'm actually almost out of it. I think I have like that much left, so I'm going to be repurchasing it soon. I absolutely love it. I have oily and acne prone skin, and this foundation is more geared towards hydrating and dry skin, but I am such a huge fan even having oily skin. I do have to pair it with a few more mattifying products, but it never looks cakey and it just sits on my skin so nicely. But like I said, I do have an entire video about this already, so I'll have that linked if you want kind of a more full review on it. Favorite number 2 is something I have also just completely talked to death on my channel, I feel, and it is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Glitter Glue. This is an eye primer that is slightly tacky. You can definitely use it for adhering glitter, but what I use it for is actually if I'm using a shadow that has a bit of fallout or it's just not super pigmented, I will dab a tiny bit of this just on my lid, and then I will pack the shadow on over top of it, and it increases the pigmentation like you would not even believe. I have a picture from my Instagram which I will insert here. I've shown it in videos before. Literally, the way this increases the pigmentation of any shadow is just mind-blowing to me. Since it is sticky, what I'll do is I'll do my like crease products and like all my blending first, and then when I go to do kind of the main color on my lid, that's when I dab this on, because if you try and blend over top of it, it can just, the shadow will stick to it basically, and it can end up looking a little bit patchy, so I do this as kind of my second last step. It is just incredible. I call it my secret weapon. It is that thing that you need in your collection. It will take all of your eye looks to the next level. So the next couple of items are blush. You guys know I'm obsessed with blush, and some of my favorite blushes do come from Too Faced for sure. I'm not mentioning all of my Too Faced blushes, but I do love the other ones that I have as well. If I'm not mentioning a product, it doesn't mean I don't like it. This is just kind of the narrowed down list of my favorites. So this one, it's another oldie, but it's something they re-promote in like palettes occasionally, and this is the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach Blush. So sad when this was discontinued. It is probably one of the first makeup products that I really like obsessed over and like wore every single day. As you can see, I've hit a lot of pan on it and I limit my usage of it severely because I don't want to run out. It is just the most flawless peachy blush. It is so flattering on fair skin. There it is, swatch, if you guys can kind of see that. It's just the perfect satin finish with no shimmer or glitter, and it's so flattering on so many different skin tones, I feel. Now, like I said, they re-promote this every so often. This is the Too Faced Everything Nice palette that came out not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before that. This isn't one of my favorites. I'm just showing it because, like I said, it does have the Papa Don't Peach blush. I feel like it's not the exact same. I don't know if this is going to show up at all, but that's the one from the palette, and that's the one just like individual. Like I said, they're not the exact same, but at least there's something kind of similar that they still come out with occasionally. But I am just dreaming constantly that they will re-promote this eventually and come out with it again, because I love it so much and I just want to use it every day again. It's like my favorite blush ever. The next one is a pretty new addition to my makeup collection, and it is the Love Flush blush palette from, I guess, I don't know if it's their spring collection, I guess. This is out currently. I know it has been selling out like crazy, and I've only had this for a couple of weeks, but it has been like all I've been reaching for my blush recently. Once again, the packaging is just like completely to die for, and it is just a little palette with all minis of their little Love Flush blushes. I'm still thinking about doing like a full dedicated review video on this, so let me know if you want to see that. I'll do like swatches and everything of all the shades. Today I'm wearing Love Hangover and this one on the end here, which is just a really pretty neutral pink. I think these may just be my new favorite formulation for blush. I kid you not, these are the longest wearing blushes I have. Like, my blush will stay looking like this, like looking freshly applied for the entire day until I'm ready to wash off my makeup. So they are incredible. I think I've tried just about all the shades now. Yeah, I've tried them all and they all have like the most insane longevity. Like I said, this has been selling out like crazy for obvious reasons, but if you can get your hands on it, snatch it up. Don't hesitate, just buy it on the spot. You won't regret it. So the final face product I want to talk about is a bronzer. Now, like I said, Too Faced is so insanely well known for their bronzers. They actually have 8 in their range. I think that's probably the best selection of bronzers any company has. There's definitely something for everyone. And I'm going to be showing you guys my Too Faced little black book of bronzers. This palette in general is a big favorite for me, but I'm just choosing one as my favorite for this video because this isn't currently available. And my favorite, as I have mentioned before, sorry, this palette is like insanely dirty, but my favorite is this one here, which is Endless Summer. It's kind of similar to NARS Laguna. It's a very neutral bronzer where it's not too warm, it's not too cool. It just looks very natural on. I have it on just a little bit today, just like really lightly bronzed. And it just looks so natural. Even on my fair skin, I find it actually looks more natural than the Milk Chocolate Soleil. I find that one can lean a little bit warm and just like slightly like veering on orange if I'm not careful when I'm applying it. And this is called Endless Summer because it's a 16-hour wear, I think, waterproof bronzer, and once again the wear time is definitely there. It will stay on all day without fading at all. So now moving more into eye products. I know I already did the eye primer. I kind of did that out of order because I was thinking of it as a base product. But the next product I want to talk about I don't actually have at the moment. It is the Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara. I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with this product. I totally thought I had a tube of it at the moment and I was searching for it because I wanted to wear it for this video, but unfortunately I couldn't find it. I guess I don't have one right now. I never actually buy the full size. I always just get like the deluxe size sample tubes in like sets and different things like that because it does tend to dry out pretty quickly. I'm not going to lie. It's only good for probably about 2 months, but it makes my like stumpy short little lashes look so thick and so volumized, and you guys know I need a mascara that holds a curl and it definitely delivers on that front. So yeah, Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara. I know it is one of the best sellers, if not now the #1 seller at Sephora. Next, I just have some eyeshadows to talk about. The first is the classic original chocolate bar palette. I have the old one that's like thicker and doesn't have like the names like actually written on the packaging. If you're not familiar, this is formulated with cocoa powder. So it smells like an actual chocolate bar. It's amazing. It smells kind of like marshmallowy too. This is my favorite. I actually haven't picked up the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette or the new Bonbons palette because this is just kind of my like OG ride or die. I love this palette. The shadows are pretty easy to work with. They can be slightly difficult to blend, especially like the really darker brown shades, so you have to be a little bit careful when applying them, but other than that, they're very easy to work with and very pigmented and like so buttery and smooth. I love that they made kind of the highlight shades a little bit larger here. And this palette is what I used on my eyes today for just like a really simple, wearable, neutral kind of look. Like I said, I don't know the names of them, but I used this kind of warm matte shadow here, this kind of peachy gold, which is one of my favorite shadows ever, this darker, warmer brown, and then this kind of like light lilac-y shade on my inner corner. I really like that shade as an inner corner highlight because it's just slightly purple, but not enough that it'll actually show up really. Like, it doesn't look purple when you have it on, but it's really complementary to green eyes. It's for like a little subtle pop of brightness on the inner corner. So that is definitely a favorite. Now, my last eye product kind of favorite is another oldie. It's something they still do carry. Mine is very old, so I have like the older packaging and older version, and that is the Too Faced Natural Eye Palette. Now, the version that they sell currently is slightly different, but for the most part it's the same. A couple of the shades are just a little bit different. As you can see, I have destroyed that top layer of shadows. This was my first ever high-end palette purchase, so once again, it has a very special place in my heart. This top row was actually all matte shades, and that's like what I learned blending with, basically. That made no sense. Those shades are literally how I learned to blend, and I actually used this dark brown matte shade here to fill in my eyebrows when I first ever started filling in my brows. I think this is definitely like a solid beginner's palette because you get a lot of really great neutral shades, but it's not too big, it's not too overwhelming, I think. And I think Too Faced still does this, but it also comes with like little cards for look suggestions. This thing is like so beat up and destroyed. I have taken this on so many like trips with me and everything, and it is just once again a big favorite of mine and a big kind of nostalgic product. And this used to be like the absolute rave on YouTube, so let me know if you remember when like everyone was talking about this and it was like the it palette. So finally, I have two lip products from Too Faced. They are both from the Melted Lipstick range. The first one is what I have on today, and it is Melted Peony. Now, these are really interesting if you haven't seen them before. They are a liquid lipstick, but they have a little sponge tip kind of applicator where you squeeze the product out. That's Melted Peony there, and like I said, I do have it on my lips today. They're not like the same as what you would think in a traditional liquid lipstick. They're a little bit creamier. They're not drying at all for me. I know some people find them drying, but I just make sure I always have lip balm on before I apply them, and I don't have any issues. They don't bleed or anything on me either. I know some people just like have issues with these lip products, but I personally really like them. I don't have any issues with them. One quick tip that I actually learned from the Too Faced reps when I was working for Sephora is that for the longest possible wear from these melted lipsticks, the best way to apply them is to do a really thin layer, blot that off with the tissue, and then apply a little bit more, and it'll give kind of like a staining power and really stay on for hours. So that is always how I've applied them, and I think that definitely helps me out. So if you have some of these lipsticks and you're not the biggest fan of the formulation, I'd recommend trying that out. Yeah, this is Melted Peony, one of my favorites in the spring. It's neutral, but it still gives like a nice pop of color to your lips, but it's not overly bright. Like, I think it's still a good wearable everyday kind of pink. And then finally, we have kind of the opposite of that. We have Melted Berry. This is one of my favorites in the fall and winter. It's more of like a deep vampy berry kind of shade. There it is swatched. The main reason I actually bought this is because one day when I was working at Sephora, I was at the checkout bringing people through, and this girl came up, and this is what she was wearing on her lips, and she was also purchasing it. And this color looked so flawless and stunning on this girl. She was like very fair with black hair and like freckles and like minimal eye makeup, and it was just like the most stunning thing I've ever seen. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get that shade. So if you have like fair complexion and dark hair, I think you will absolutely love this. It's just the perfect flattering berry shade, and good if you want to do a red lip but you don't want to go like super traditional red. I feel like when you have fair skin and like darker hair, if you put on a red lip, it automatically has like a pin-up-y kind of vibe. So this is good if you want kind of like a more modern red. But that actually wraps up all of my favorite products from Too Faced. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more like top 5 or top 10 products in the future, give this video a thumbs up so I know. Comment down below and let me know if you have a favorite product from Too Faced, and of course, if you are new to my channel, please hit subscribe down below. It really helps me out and really makes my day. But anyways, I will talk to all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys! The price for this foundation is $53 Canadian or $44.4. That is not a number. Well, it is, but that would be really expensive for a foundation.